Tonight, Thames River rescue.
We jumped down to the river end to kind of get her out, but she just current took her straight away.
The emergency response and bystander help bringing a woman to safety. Plus, pushing back on a proposed apartment.
There you could put 6 houses that match the rest of the neighborhood and there'd be no issue.
Neighborhood opposition to housing density. And countdown to puck drop. The Knights and Greyhounds square off in the opening round.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with an emergency response. Late this afternoon along the Thames River, a woman fell into the fast-moving water, prompting rescue efforts from bystanders and first responders. Lauren Stallone reports.
It was a contemplation, like, do I get in to try and take it out, or is that going to add to the problem, you know?
An afternoon walk for Daniel Jones and his family quickly took an unexpected turn when he says he saw a woman fall into the Thames River.
We jumped down to the river end to kind of get her out, but she just current took her straight away.
He says he called 911 and tried to help in any way he could.
I got a compass out and I just start running around the side just to keep her coherent, you know, talking to her, like. And then I meet her husband was also then looking for her, and I met him, and then both was just kind of were phone the police, trying to call her name, trying to get her to be coherent, and then we get her to the side, and then the police finally came, and we were all managed to drag her out, thank God.
Jones says the woman was in complete shock.
The poor lady was in the water for maybe 10, 15 minutes, but she was conscious, you know, she was still able to respond to her name, and we were able to kind of like just really get her to move and stuff.
Jones says it wasn't about being a hero, just instinct. Stepping in to help when someone needed it most.
We were always kind of just looking to see, you know, what we can do for people, you know, like see if everyone's okay and safe and stuff. And as a dad, I'm always like worried about people.
He says the woman has since been transported to hospital where she's being treated for hypothermia.
She seems to be stable, so hopefully she makes a full recovery and everything's all right.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
A man from Kincardine says he was forced to provide a DNA sample when trying to cross the border into the U.S. late last year. As Scott Miller reports, he was denied entry, and it's not clear what grounds, if any, those agents had to demand his DNA.
Kevin Larson's DNA is now in the hands of the U.S. government. On October 18th, the Kincardine native was heading to a No Kings rally in Port Huron when he was pulled over for a random check at the U.S. border crossing. What happened next shocked him.
They took my picture, took my fingerprints, and about 2 3/4 hours in, they said, "We're not going to allow you entry, but first you have to give a DNA sample." I said no twice. I sat down, and then a supervisor took me to a private room, read me the Riot Act and the law, and said, I can be charged, and if found guilty, it could be up to 1 year in prison.
The retired health physicist knew he wasn't a criminal and didn't want to go to jail, so he gave the border guards what they wanted, his DNA.
I did say yes because I had heard that if you push back at the border, you can end up with a 5-year ban on going to the States, and I have a cousin in Georgia that we visit regularly, so I submitted to a DNA check.
Larson has no criminal background and says he was carrying nothing but a Canadian flag to the No Kings rally in Port Huron. 3,000 such rallies were held last year across the U.S.
At the very end, I talked to the main officers dealing with. So I said, cut to the chase. What's the main reason I'm not being allowed admission? And he said, it was the purpose of your visit, sir. They somehow saw a Canadian with a flag as a threat to their country, and I don't get it.
2 U.S. Congress members have taken up Larson's case, asking U.S. lawmakers why he was detained and what the DNA is being used for. Now, there's supposed to be another No Kings rally happening in Port Huron this weekend. Larson isn't going to risk trying to cross the border again, so he's going to hold his own No Kings rally here in Grey Bruce.
The purpose of that rally is let people in the States know they have friends. You know, we're not calling for regime change.
A month after being forced to give up his DNA at the U.S. border, Larson actually attempted to cross the border again to visit family, this time successfully.
I was there for an hour. They looked at my phone. They reviewed the records, but they did let us go in.
In Kincardine, Scott Miller, CTV News.
The Hamilton Road BIA has announced a new hire in the wake of a six-figure financial loss to online scammers last year. With more on the new voice taking over and his reputation at City Hall, here's Daryl Newcomb.
A familiar face is now at the helm of the Hamilton Road business improvement area.
It's not going to be a story of recovery, it's going to be a story of progress.
Kevin Morrison will remain executive director of the Old East Village BIA, while taking on the additional role of operations consultant at the neighboring business district. Last summer, the Hamilton Road BIA lost $111,000 to online scammers, triggering the departure of its previous general manager.
They got a good foundation. They had what I call a hiccup. And you know what? It happened. Let's get over it. Let's get on with it.
Morrison's contract began March 1st. He'll be using vacation time and time in lieu from his job at the OEV BIA to bring his unique style to Hamilton Road.
Already I've noticed that there has to be more open lines of communication, which is something I certainly implemented and worked hard on when I came to the Old East Village. I would have appreciated the common courtesy for the mayor to get in touch with me. We need some city supports that way, because even the city won't clean that up. Where's the support that we need, that this council had committed to?
Morrison has a well-earned reputation at City Hall for advocating strongly and publicly for Old East Village businesses, resulting in a free parking program, additional funding, and council's acknowledgement that social service agencies shouldn't be clustered in a single business district.
Perhaps they think I'm a little bit abrasive. Sometimes they think I'm a little bit direct. But you know what? I have found that things don't get done by sometimes just taking that soft approach.
He's only been working here for a short time. Having Morrison employed by the Old East Village BIA as well as the Hamilton Road BIA has some people asking him if this is a prelude to an eventual merger.
The answer is a flat-out no. BIAs are they represent distinct districts, and the Old East Village is a distinct district, just as the Hamilton Road BIA is. A significant positive change.
Morrison says he has a good rapport with members of civic administration who have offered assistance as he moves the Hamilton Road BIA forward.
Sometimes at committee meetings or council meetings we might not agree on everything, but I was going to say eventually they come around to my way of thinking, but that's not always the case.
Morrison was previously the mayor of Goderich and the owner of several business ventures. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Residents in the Carlyle neighborhood say they're concerned about a proposed apartment building on Cheapside. They say it doesn't belong in the neighborhood, arguing it would cause parking problems. Brian Bicknell reports.
The property is a little less than an acre in size and located on Cheapside, a collector street on a bus route. It's bordered by Sterling and Barker streets, which have single-family homes. The lot is being proposed for a 6-story mid-rise apartment building. Some neighbors, including Mike Carey, don't believe it's a good fit.
I disagree with it. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, it does nothing for the aesthetic of the neighborhood. There's plenty of property there. You could put 6 houses that match the rest of the neighborhood and there'd be no issue.
City staff say the building's height and density are permitted along Cheapside, but still Ward 4 councillor Susan Stevenson says she's heard no shortage of opposition from constituents.
We don't get to decide what a private landowner does with their property, right? They are allowed, as of right, 6 stories, but that's something that I'm going to be looking into too. When did we put that in place? Because the neighborhood here feels that 6 stories is too high.
Under the current proposal, the building would have 46 parking spots for the 105 units. That's below the city's existing requirement of 0.5 parking spots per unit. And that's one of a number of special provisions sought by Corley Developments that city staff recommended against. Earlier this month, council's planning committee voted down staff recommendations 4-1. Deputy Mayor Sean Lewis cast the lone vote, siding with staff.
The staff recommendation was actually just to apply the base zoning that would allow for an apartment building to be built here. It would have actually forced the builder to redesign their plan so that it would fit without those special requests. Quite honestly, I'm concerned that we are simply going to have this result in an appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal.
There'll be enough complaints about everybody parking on the street. Next thing you know, they'll be putting the no parking on the streets, which just screws over everybody else in the neighborhood.
The full city council considers the proposal on Tuesday. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Good evening, I'm Rita Ismail. We're live inside the Grand Theatre, and it's World Theatre Day, and of course the opening of a brand new play here, The Importance of Being Earnest, coming up a little later in the show. We'll talk with the executive director all about this play and what fans can expect. Right now, let's jump right into the forecast. It has been a beautiful Friday, lots of sunshine, high pressure in play, and that means cooler air as well. Our temperatures well below seasonal today, and of course, as we head into the night, we are actually going to drop. We have a weak low pressure system that will swing on through overnight tonight into tomorrow. Right now we're sitting at -1. The winds continue out of the northwest about 17 kilometers per hour, and of course overnight tonight it will feel close to -10. But the good news is we do have some sunshine in the forecast and a nice warm up. We'll walk you through the full forecast coming up a little later in the show, but for now, back to you, Carlyle.
Thanks very much, Rita. London police say they're trying to identify a person of interest after a local MPP's office was vandalized. They say someone smashed out several windows at Peggy Sattler's Commissioners Road West office. According to police, a man dressed in dark clothing was seen on surveillance video between 12:20 and 12:30 a.m. Sunday. However, they did not release any of that footage. They're asking anyone with useful information to contact them. Lawyers for a local doctor say London police have dropped mischief charges related to a pro-Palestinian demonstration in 2024. Tarek Lubani was set for trial later this year, accused of squirting ketchup all over the front of MP Peter Fregiscatos' office. In a statement, Lubani's lawyers say the charges were dropped earlier this week, calling out London police for laying them in the first place, saying it was a waste of the court's time. Lubani was previously charged with mischief in 2023 for a similar incident and had those dropped just before the 2024 ketchup incident. St. Thomas police say they've charged 2 people following raids across Elgin County last week. Police released this image of what they seized. They say it was a fraud and identity theft investigation, which led them to drugs, weapons, cash, and various documents while carrying out 2 search warrants. A pair of women, one from St. Thomas and one from Fingal, are in custody. The family of a young boy killed as he was getting off a school bus a little more than a year ago are seeking more than $5.5 million in a civil lawsuit. 7-year-old Dante Caranci was hit by a driver in mid-December 2024 on Longwoods Road on the western edge of Lambeth. The lawsuit names a courier who is making deliveries in the area, the bus driver, and the City of London. London police have since charged the courier and the bus driver. The statement of claim accuses the city of failing to address safety issues on Longwoods, describing a history of complaints about speeding. Lang's Bus and the organization that oversees local school bus operations were also named in the suit. The annual Tenant Support Fair was at City Hall this afternoon. This was the event's 3rd year, connecting renters with more than a dozen agencies. It's geared to low-income renters in need of advice, resources, or legal support. It's all coordinated by the social agency Lifespin. The group's executive director says their goal each year is to improve service for tenants.
I think we've seen that referrals are often the hardest part. Where do we send people when they have a question? So we've learned that this fair is a really great opportunity to bring together lots of different organizations all in one room. So if we aren't the one that provide the right resource, we can say, hey, just across the room, that's who you want to speak to.
It's just very eye-opening and very informative as to what's going on in London and Ontario as a whole with housing. There's a very big instability within housing and very high cost of housing, and people do need help and people do need support.
Firefighters say they were able to quickly contain a fire in a large equipment shed this morning in London. Fire officials say the flames broke out around 4:30 in the northeast end of the city. They say someone passing by on Clark Road called it in. When crews arrived, they say there were heavy flames and smoke, and the situation was brought under control by 6 a.m. No injuries were reported. The creation of a new Indigenous healing space in LHSC's mental health area has been dubbed a step toward reconciliation by a local elder. She says the new space is an example of harmony within a hospital setting. It's meant to offer healing for patients unable to access care at other locations on the grounds. The new room features a medicine circle and local Indigenous art with ventilation for smudging ceremonies. Team members involved say the space is about providing patients with solace.
Joy, peace, and happiness, to know that sense of belonging, that they have a space, that they're a precious gift of creation. They have a space in that circle of life.
The London Knights are less than an hour away from dropping the puck on the 2026 playoffs. They finished fourth in the OHL's Western Conference, assuring themselves home ice advantage in the first round. They're taking on the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, who were just a single point behind London in the standings. The Knights and Greyhounds played each other 4 times during the regular season. London won 3 of those games, 2 of which were decided in a shootout. Puck drop tonight just after 7 p.m. at Canada Life Place.
Good evening, I'm Rita Ismail, and we're live inside the Grand Theatre. I'm joined by the Executive Director, Lindy Hansen. Thank you so much for having us. It's a big day here, the opening of a brand new play, The Importance of Being Earnest. As we were talking just before we went to air, it is over 100 years old of a play, right? So you're bringing it back to life here. Tell us a little bit about that.
We are bringing it back to life. We're excited to bring it back to life and do our own production with our own set and costume and props people making the production right here in London, Ontario. And this production is really fun because it is a color block design, meaning Act 1 is all green, Act 2 is all yellow, and Act 3 is all red.
I love that. You also mentioned there was an importance of fanning, and I learned about color blocking and about fanning. Tell us a little bit about that.
So in the Victorian era, a lot of people had fans, and so the director has added a piece to the beginning on the language of fans, and so that tells you about what it means when you open a fan and fan yourself, when you hold it to one side or another, and that people in Victorian England would have understood what that meant, and so he's giving us a bit of education that we can watch for as we watch the show.
That is so neat. And of course, there is a new character that you've added to sort of modernize this play.
Yes, she's actually based on a historic character, historic woman, person that lived at that time named Lady Stella Clinton, who was a drag artist who would perform as a woman and sometimes live as a woman. And so she's been added, and she does a couple of songs and performs, and it adds just a little something more to the moment of the time.
I love it. And of course, tickets are still available. Let's tell the folks out there they can buy them where?
They can buy them online at grandtheatre.com, or they can call our box office at 519-672-880.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lindy. Looking forward to watching this one. I'm going to throw it back to you in the newsroom for now, Carlyle.
Thanks very much, Rita. When we come back, gas prices going back up. Details on the wider impact across the economy. Plus, one step closer to liftoff, the Artemis II crew arrive at the Kennedy Space Center, counting down to next week's moon mission launch.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. Fuel prices are going back up, and experts say there's likely no reprieve in the short term. On top of that, those higher costs are causing knock-on effects in other economic sectors, including travel habits. Paul Hollingsworth reports.
With gas prices on the rise, drivers and entire industries are feeling the squeeze.
Trying to manage, you can say, because we can't survive without a gas.
And the pressure at the pumps also continues to spike.
The car needs gas, so I just do what I got to do at the end of the day.
Trevor Wheatley's van is his office. When he's busy, he drives a lot. Wheatley says the cost of fuel slashes the bottom line of his plumbing business.
It's been climbing and climbing, and of course, driving a bigger rig like myself, yeah, definitely it's going to impact, the cost.
As Wheatley's overhead becomes more expensive, he passes it on to his customers.
I got to charge people, I got to charge travel time now because the covering costs for gas is very important.
Fuel analyst Carol Montroy says gas and diesel prices are up alarmingly across Canada since the start of the Iran war.
Gasoline up 30%. And diesel up 40%.
Montroy says if this trend continues, it's safe to predict what will happen next.
As we get way above $1.75, $1.80, getting close to $2 a liter, People are changing their habit.
Dalhousie University professor Lauren Sheehan worries about a dip in the North American travel tourism industry.
The biggest variable cost that airlines face is fuel. So as the fuel prices increase, they're having to pass that on to the customer.
Wheatley is already altering his vacation plans because of rising fuel prices.
We wouldn't go where we normally would go because of the fuel costs.
Sheehan also sees warning signs for the upcoming summer season, a time when people spend money directly on transportation. He expects Canadian travelers to stay closer to home. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
A Liberal MP is under fire on Parliament Hill after a tense exchange during a committee hearing where he appeared to cast doubt on the existence of forced labor in China. With more on the political fallout, here's Annie Bergeron-Oliver.
We need to get short answers, please.
The House committee had barely started when Liberal MP Michael Ma launched into a line of controversial questioning.
Have you witnessed forced labor in Shenzhen? Yes or no?
About whether forced labor was happening in China and in its auto sector.
I think the comments of Mr. Ma either reflect a poor understanding of the situation on the ground in China, or I would put him in the category of useful idiots.
Ma says his questions were tied to Shenzhen, China's auto manufacturing hotspot, and not to Xinjiang, an area of well-documented human rights abuses against Uyghurs. In a statement, Ma said, "I asked questions that inadvertently came across as dismissive of the serious issue of forced labor. I condemn forced labor in all its forms." But Ma didn't specifically condemn forced labor in China, something the government isn't doing either.
We have had no change in our position. What we are against forced labor anywhere and everywhere.
Since Mark Carney took office, Canada has reopened diplomatic relations and warmed up trade relations with China. At the same time, Canada seems to have a softer tone publicly about Beijing at the request of the Chinese president.
I mean, he didn't say it this way, but I interpret it. Don't lecture me in public. Bring issues to me directly.
In his latest departmental plan, Global Affairs doesn't mention forced labor as a priority, a change from 2022 when the same kind of plan specifically said Canada will continue to speak out against China's repression of the Uyghur and Tibetan peoples. Advocates say Canada needs to be stronger in its fight against forced labor and needs to prioritize human rights in conversations with China.
When we sideline human rights, we are sidelining our core values and interests.
Canada has laws banning imports with the use of forced labor, but many experts say those laws are not strong enough due to weak enforcement powers. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Local astronaut Jeremy Hansen has arrived in Florida with his crewmates ahead of next week's moon mission launch. Heather Wright has the latest as NASA teams prepare for liftoff.
The crew of Artemis 2 touched down in Florida this afternoon, gearing up for launch day, which could come as soon as Wednesday.
We're all fired up to go do this, so allons-y.
Canadian Jeremy Hansen is among the astronauts that will take off from the Kennedy Space Center, the first crewed mission of the Orion spacecraft, and the first crew to go to the moon since Apollo 17 in 1972. This mission has not been without setbacks. It's years behind schedule, over budget, and 2 launch attempts this year have been scrapped.
We often say, failure is not an option, but I think it is often misunderstood. It's not that we never fail, it's that we don't quit when we fail.
While the crew will not land on the lunar surface, they could travel deeper in space than anyone before them as they take a free turn trajectory around the moon and back to Earth.
There's no guarantee we will, but if we do, we should celebrate the pioneers who came before us that put us in this position to be breaking a record like that. And then we should, throw that out to the next generation to say, hey, let's go even further.
Going further is NASA's plan, with discussions about building a moon base to launch further exploration of the solar system.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Like, that's been our motto from the beginning. And you feel that right now with the sustainable lunar base, habitat, architecture, and kind of the test, fly, test, develop approach. We have been missing that for a long time, and we are very happy to have that back.
And part of this mission will also be reestablishing knowledge of the moon because a crew has not been there in more than 50 years. Some of that knowledge has been lost, with the hope being that moon missions become more frequent in the future. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
And heading back now to the Grand Theatre one more time, rejoining Rita Ismail for a look at the forecast tonight. Rita?
Carlyle, as we mentioned before, it is opening night here at the Grand for the importance of being Earnest. And tonight is sold out, but this play will be here until April 12th. Make sure to get your tickets. It's expected to be incredible. Let's get right into the forecast. Our high today struggling at only a high of 2. Normal this time of year, 7 degrees. Overnight, we dropped down to -6, so we are remaining well below normal. Record high, 23 degrees. That was back in 1998. Record low, -12 in 1996. Our sunset tonight, and it should be a good one at 7:45. Heading into the night, you can see our temperatures are below the freezing mark. -1 here in London, -4 in Godrich, and -5 in Wyerton. There is a wind chill factored into this because, of course, the winds continue out of the northwest, and that's why we felt cooler air throughout the day. High pressure in play, which meant plenty of sunshine for your Friday. We are seeing that cloud slowly starting to move in. It's a part of a weak low pressure system that will swing on through overnight tonight into tomorrow. Now, what that means for us is cloud cover for areas around London and further to the north. We are going to see some flurries, a few centimeters of snowfall, nothing that'll really stick, but make note, we are going to have that throughout the night, especially through Midwestern Ontario. Nice mix of sun and cloud for most of your Saturday, but again, our temperature is on the colder side. Another weak system crosses through Sunday. Similar timing, but a bit more cloud cover associated with that, which means Sunday will be mostly cloudy with some breaks of sunshine and early morning flurries possible for Midwestern Ontario. This evening, if you are heading out, coming down here to the Grand Theatre, bundle up. -2, feeling about -8. The winds out of the northwest, 15 kilometers per hour. And then heading into the night, that chance of flurries is there as that weak low pressure system swings on through. Waking up tomorrow, if you're up bright and early and out the door, it will feel like -11. And again, that is cold for this time of year. It's the end of March. We want a little bit of warmth to move in, and it will on Sunday. But tomorrow morning, mix of sun and cloud, climbing to a high of 2, much like today, but mostly cloudy conditions late in the evening. We're expecting some sunshine early in the morning and into the afternoon. That cloud moving in late in the day on Saturday, along with that system that will swing on through Saturday, overnight into Sunday. So similar pattern tonight into tomorrow as the one Saturday into Sunday. The only difference is we warm up. Take a look at Sunday, 9 degrees, and then doubling for Monday, 18. Lots of sunshine first thing Monday morning, and then throughout the day we are going to see that cloud cover start to increase. With that warmth will come some rainfall Monday into Tuesday, and our temperatures will be well above seasonal. 18 degrees on Monday, 17 on Tuesday, rainfall on Tuesday, and then normal near seasonal Tuesday and Wednesday. Similar pattern for you in Midwestern Ontario, but do expect a little bit more in the way of flurries tomorrow and Sunday. But the warm up is certainly there for you as well Monday, under that sunny sky and the warmth of 14 degrees Monday and 16 on Tuesday, although Tuesday you will certainly need that umbrella as you head out the door. And then things start to feel more like spring Wednesday and Thursday. And for your holiday, Good Friday, 7 degrees. We're expecting some showers. We are live again inside the Grand Theatre for opening night at the importance of being Earnest. It is expected to be an incredible play. Don't miss out. It is running here until April 12th. Get your tickets and come on down. Enjoy a night out with family and friends and a great play. Carlyle?
Thanks very much, Rita. Still ahead, should Canada claw back old age security payments from high-income seniors? The arguments in favor and the political risk they carry.
Monday morning at 6 a.m., your code words start up again for your chance to win $50,000.
It's all part of Pure Country's big $50K payday. You can find more details at purecountry93.ca.
There's a push in BC to consider revising old age security payments for high-income seniors, potentially reducing them or eliminating them altogether. However, as Craig Krause reports, any of those changes will likely spark political backlash.
A day after reporting a possible plan to reduce Canada's $78 billion deficit.
When OAS is just so much bigger than everything else, we have to go and then say maybe this is a place to find savings right now.
That idea is striking a chord with some Canadians. Many pointed out to CTV News there are already clawbacks in place for seniors who earned above $93,000 last year, and those benefits are fully clawed back at roughly $152,000 for those 65 to 74, or about $158,000 for seniors 75 and older.
We do benefit from OAS, but because we're subject to the recovery tax, we actually forego a certain amount of money every month.
Hundreds of dollars out of Colin Jeffrey's pocket.
How much are they already contributing or foregoing and saving the federal government?
Kershaw's plan would begin phasing out OAS at a household income of $100,000, although he points out a majority of Canadians support dropping the OAS threshold to $81,000. He estimates if benefits were reduced for seniors making more than that, it could save around $20 billion a year and help more seniors.
We would virtually eliminate their poverty. We haven't done that ever before. And we would be dramatically accelerating investments into affordability issues.
But changes to seniors' income is a sensitive topic. And one political analyst says Mark Carney's government could face backlash for touching OAS.
I think he's torn. I think as an economist, he understands the logic of reducing benefits to well-off seniors. But politically, it could be very damaging for him.
Still, with a ballooning deficit, Telford says economic growth alone may not be enough, leaving an uncertain future.
I'm sort of reasonably stable, but I feel sorry for the younger people for sure.
Are you worried about your future?
A little bit. I feel like, what if I can't buy a house when I'm older?
Whether it's changes to OAS or other measures, people are looking for answers, and fast. Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
Cocoa prices are dropping after spiking in recent years. However, analysts say that likely won't be reflected in prices at grocery stores. Chocolate manufacturers have made major changes in recent years, dealing with conditions that wiped out cocoa yields and pushed prices to historic highs. Despite cocoa prices falling back to where they were a couple years ago, experts say that decline likely won't be reflected in stores this season or even next year because many of those products were produced months ago. Canada's main stock index was in positive territory today while American markets moved lower. The TSX gained 73 points. In New York, the Dow plunged 793. The Nasdaq fell 460. The Canadian dollar dropped 0.16 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold gained $115 an ounce. Oil is up $5.16 a barrel, closing just under the $100 mark. Later on CTV News, opening day for the Toronto Blue Jays. The daunting task of building on last year's success coming up just short of a World Series win. Welcome back. NDP members are gathering in Winnipeg for their annual convention, their first since their abysmal performance in last year's federal election. That was the end of Jagmeet Singh's tenure as leader. And as Rachel Aiello reports, by the end of this weekend, his successor will be selected.
Welcome to Winnipeg. New Democrats from across Canada are gathering here over the next 3 days to talk policy, plot political strategy, and decide who will be their next leader.
My party's ebb and flow, and this is an opportunity for our party, and I'm feeling the excitement of this convention. 2,000 people, 100,000 members, raised the most money we've ever raised in the history of our party in our leadership contest.
Kicking the convention off, New Democrat Premier Wab Kinew rallied progressives in his home province.
In order for us to have a strong Canada, we need a strong federal NDP.
Before voting concludes Saturday night and the new leader is named on Sunday, each of the 5 candidates on the ballot, documentary filmmaker and perceived frontrunner Avi Lewis, Alberta MP Heather McPherson, dock worker and union boss Rob Ashton, Indigenous social worker Tennille Johnston, and organic farmer Tony McQuail, will have one last chance to pitch members on their vision for the future of the party, a party that has a lot of rebuilding to do.
Us in the federal party, we need to build back our strength so that we are an asset for provincial wings.
Our job is to win more seats. Our job is to rebuild a New Democratic Party, not just for New Democrats, but for Canadians across the country, because our democracy is stronger.
Those I've been speaking with say this weekend isn't just about electing a new leader. It's taking those first steps towards demonstrating the party can claw its way back to relevance. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Winnipeg.
President Donald Trump has given Iranian authorities more time to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, avoiding strikes on the country's energy facilities. Meanwhile, the American Secretary of State met with G7 foreign ministers in France today, where there are growing divisions over the conflict in the Middle East. President Trump has repeatedly criticized NATO members for not joining his war effort. Here's what Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister said when she was asked about Canada's stance.
Canada, of course, is continuing to advocate for civilian lives, civilian infrastructure preservation, as well as the stability in the region as a whole.
Several Jeffrey Epstein abuse survivors are taking legal action against the Trump administration and Google. They're filing a class action lawsuit over disclosure of personal information in the recently released files related to the late sex offender. The plaintiffs say the United States, acting through the Department of Justice, made a deliberate choice to prioritize rapid, large volume disclosure over protection of Epstein survivor privacy. The government later withdrew the information, but the survivors say online platforms like Google continued to republish it. Authorities in Florida say golf icon Tiger Woods was arrested today on suspicion of impaired driving after a rollover crash. They say it happened this afternoon not far from Woods' home on Jupiter Island, and he was not seriously hurt. He's been working his way back from a 7th back surgery last September, and there's been speculation he could compete in next month's Masters tournament. Woods was also involved in a serious car crash back in February 2021, suffering severe leg fractures.
Tonight's weather snapshot taken by our viewer Travis Jackson in London, showing a beautiful spring day with clear blue skies. Our temperatures drop tonight as cold air filters in behind a weak low pressure system, but there is hope on the horizon. Sunshine returns Saturday afternoon and warmer air moves in Sunday into Monday. We are expecting showers and mild temperatures for Tuesday.
The founder of a popular bakery and restaurant in the village of Millbank has died. Jeff Pickle has more on Anna May's legacy and how her name became synonymous with quality.
In the village of Millbank, things typically move a little slower. That is until lunchtime at Anna May's restaurant and bakery.
So we are a Mennonite restaurant and bakery with homemade recipes, homemade food. So it's like you're going home for a meal.
A place for community and visitors to enjoy a simple but delicious meal.
It's a family business. It's always been a family business, and just living true to her vision.
But this week, the community is saying goodbye to the founder, Anna May Waggler, who passed away from cancer.
She is very, very humble. She would never want all this attention, but she deserves all this attention as well because she started a wonderful thing.
Currently employing nearly 100 staff, Anna May started off by selling homemade pies from her home in 1978.
She was such a hard worker, and she expected everybody to work hard.
As the business grew in popularity, Anna May was forced to find a new location, and the bakery was open in 1991.
I was there when she started the restaurant, though.
At the time, not everyone could see Anna May's vision.
So they did a study, and the study came back that it would not be successful because this isn't a road that leads anywhere, and, you know, it wouldn't be.
She says Anna May soon proved the doubters wrong, and they were shocked with how quickly the business grew.
She'd come to me, and we'd go at the back, and she'd hug me, and we'd laugh and laugh and laugh and go back to work again because it was such a wonderful thing that, you know, you couldn't have figured out it would. If you planned it that way, it happened fast.
In 2001, Anna May sold the business to the Herford family.
So this is where we make everything in the oven.
Despite the change in ownership, Anna May's vision lives on.
When she actually sold the business, it's because she wanted to spend more time with her family, and she's definitely a caregiver, and that is who she is to the core.
A teenager at the time, Amanda now runs the business.
It was something that she believed in, and we carried on believing in the same things as her.
Described as humble, passionate, and caring.
And honestly, this town is the town it is today because of this woman. So it's just very impressive what she did, and she's just a wonderful woman.
Leaving a legacy of food, family, and community. Jeff Pickle, CTV News, Millbank.
The annual Academy Awards ceremony is moving to a new location, leaving Hollywood, but not LA. It's coming out of a new partnership between the Academy and the Anschutz Entertainment Group. Starting in 2029, the Oscars will be held at the LA Live Complex in a 7,100-seat space known as the Peacock Theater. It's more than double the size of the current Dolby Theater, and it's set for an extensive upgrade before the Oscars move in. It's been 50 years since the CN Tower officially opened in Toronto, and the Royal Canadian Mint has created a new coin to mark the occasion. The new toonie will feature the CN Tower on one side and King Charles on the other. These are regular toonies you're seeing because the Mint hasn't actually revealed the final design. It's just been announced. Mint officials say there will be two versions, one with color and one without. They say the toonies will be released in June, coinciding with the Tower's official anniversary.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Saturday morning, 8 a.m., it's Weekend Spotlight. I hope you'll join us this Saturday. We're going to chat with Mike from Highland Cinemas about some great classic movies running in the month of April. We will talk to Tech Alliance. They have some amazing programs to help you with your next big idea, and talk big success stories based right here in London. And last but not least, the Grand Theatre launched their new season for the fall. We'll find out why you want to get tickets soon. That's Saturday, 8 a.m.
Welcome back. The Toronto Blue Jays are about to embark on their 2026 MLB campaign. They were last season's World Series runners-up. Sean Leathong has more on their mentality this year to go one step further.
This is the sound Blue Jays fans have been waiting for. Baseball is back in Toronto, and the lineup started early this morning.
It's all about family, bringing us together, community, and I love the Jays.
April 7th, 1977, Bill Singer threw a first-pitch strike, starting the fans' love affair with the Blue Jays. This being the 50th season for a club that's rich in history, with the team growing close to families like Rochelle Kersner's.
Since I was a kid, I came with my dad, and this was our thing to do, and now this is my thing to do with my boys.
Now history can be felt all over the ballpark, and fans like Grace and Ruth Gretton from Cambridge, Ontario, have created their own tradition, collecting autographed rubber ducks.
It's called the Lucky Duck, so I got players to sign it.
The two sisters meeting Ernie Clement and Davis Schneider early this afternoon.
They're so nice to the fans. It's awesome.
And ball. Last fall's run to the World Series has made opening day feel different this year. Inside the Jays shop, there's a buzz as fans scramble to get their hands on as much merch as possible.
Blue Jays shirt, Blue Jays long sleeve. I got the jersey with the 50th patch on it.
Fans can't help but feel the difference.
I don't know, that team from last year is just so special.
It just feels different, it does.
We usually come in here first before we go to the games, and it's not usually this insane. Like, there is people everywhere.
Larry and Diane Goodwin flew from Nova Scotia and came straight from the airport.
Oh, it's a dream come true.
As the American League Championship team is being celebrated, but fans want a little more.
We're winning. World Series. We're going back to the World Series this year.
Oh, yeah.
We're going back to the World Series and winning this time.
Sean Leathong, CTV News.
And finally tonight, a Vancouver man who refused to let a grim diagnosis determine his fate. As Adam Sawatsky reports, he's since embraced volunteering, and with it, a newfound sense of purpose.
If you ask Mario Gregorio the story behind his walking stick,
this is a bamboo and this is the roots.
He'll tell you how his nephew carved it for him and how it's proven to be a great conversation starter.
And then sometimes they say, Mario, you talk too much. I don't care.
But Mario says he does care deeply about the schedule on his hand.
Because I used to write it in a piece of paper and then I forget that I have it in my pocket, so it becomes useless.
You see, Mario was diagnosed with dementia in his mid-50s, was forced to quit his job, and left feeling like a jug of milk with a looming best before date.
They say 7 to 12 years after that, either you're dead or you go to a long-term care home.
Mario cried countless tears before considering a singular solution.
There might be something I can do while I'm still alive, kind of thing.
So Mario started volunteering and found that the more he helped others, the more his mental health improved.
I think people should understand that they need to have a purpose.
And now, 18 years after being diagnosed, Mario volunteers at 20 organizations, from universities doing dementia research to community groups making meals for folks who are unhoused.
When people talk to me, I tell them volunteering makes me cry.
Because in community kitchens, he'll tell them he's always happy to do what nobody else wants to.
Who wants to do onions? And then everybody would yell, Mario will do it.
Because no matter what makes Mario start crying, he'll always end up smiling.
We always smile no matter what.
And no matter where, he travels with his bamboo cane and back-of-hand calendar. Mario never forgets to be grateful.
At the end of the day, I have a sense of being thankful to make life of other people a little better.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Vancouver.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a great weekend.